Good evening, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tracy Takes On, the show that talks about all things politics. We are here with my panelists, Talisha and Charles. Wave hello, guys. Wave hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello, wave hello, Charles. You forgot to wave
Um,
hello. You forgot to wave hello. Anyway, we've got a lot. Oh, there now he does it. But we have a lot to talk about. But first, I would be remorse if I did not extend my condolences to three celebrity passings. Two of them really impacted me. Cicely Tyson, who passed at the age of 96. Cloris Leachman, who I believe was 92. And the youngest of the three was Dustin Diamond, who, if you all don't know, I grew up in the 80s, so I was definitely a Saved by the Bells baby. He died at 44. So I didn't want to just pass this show and not at least send our condolences to those families and to those friends and to all the fans who are going to miss their great work. So we're going to get to the topics of today, and I want to start off with the whole Robin Hood thing that's going on. It took a couple of days for me to finally understand what is going on. So for you all in the audience that don't know, a bunch of people got on Reddit, and you guys jump in if I'm wrong, and decided to buy a stock of GameStop. And GameStop is a small, well, not a small company. It's a company that definitely hasn't had as much business as they used to have due to COVID. But this stock has just kept rising and kept rising and kept rising. And so Robinhood, or is that right? Robinhood decided, you know what, you guys can't buy stocks. And apparently some billionaires lost upwards to 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 and even $60 million. What are you guys' thoughts about this? Because I have two trains of thoughts and I don't know which one I'm leaning towards more.
Well, I'll tell you like this, I'm a little annoyed. It's been all that has covered the news for the last week, and it's kind of annoying because there's still a pandemic raging, killing the most vulnerable among us, which is definitely the Black and brown communities and poor people. And then let's not even get started on how our administration has backslid on the 2,000 they were supposed to send us. Now it's 1,400 sometime. So I'm a little annoyed. It's wonderful in this instance that the little guy has finally been able to do what rich people have been doing for years. Hedge funds usually manipulate the market, and they manage to drive down some poor business that's responsible for God only knows how many employees' livelihoods, just so they can make a buck. Well, the Reddit users found out about it. They basically put their heads together, started driving up this stock. So the hedge fund managers lost their shirts in it. They're like down 53% of their price, their wealth. So it's wonderful. I'm over Wall Street saying that now there should be regulations, and now we got Congress people jumping in saying, oh, we have to do some oversight. Where has your oversight been? Back in 2009, when the stock market crashed and people lost their homes, they were so busy bailing out Wall Street and the banks, and the poor guys got pooped on. So I'm over it. I'm over our government. We need some progressives in office today, now.
Charles, take it away.
well, I guess my question is, and I haven't heard, did anybody break the law? They just figured out a way to make some money, which, I mean, the stock market is a gamble. You don't know what drives prices up or what drives prices down. You just take a gamble and hope that, I guess, if things go along normally, this works, but I guess people who invested in GameStop, did they do anything wrong? Because if they didn't do anything wrong, well, I guess I don't have a problem with it.
They absolutely did not, Charles.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they basically just utilized publicly traded information. So they did everything right, but because the wrong people lost out, all of the big money capitalists are very angry and upset. Now they want regulations.
Yeah, and that's where I was at two um, kind of thoughts on this. One, I was like, ha 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 ha. As a person that does not understand anything about the stock, I don't. What I understand about the stock market, I probably learned in the third grade. Is a bunch of people take their money, buy a stock, hope it goes up. If it goes up, we make money. If it goes down, we lose. That's just my basic understanding. But it's like, you know what? It's time. It's about time that the little guy got over it. I'm so tired of these big time corporations whining and crying about, yeah, we need what do you should have been regulated.
Absolutely.
You should have been regulated in a way that makes sense, not just regulate to keep poor people out, which is what they're really wanting. They want to keep people like us out. That's why they want regulation. So I was just like, you know what? Oh well, I'm not crying. I'm not losing any sleep. So I thought I'd get you guys' thoughts on that, because the whole thing just had me like, okay, now say that again and do this again, because I wasn't quite following it. But someone finally explained it to me. I'm like, now I understand. So, of course, our next subject is um, probably our triple idiot of the week pick. We haven't gotten to that set yet, but I'm pretty sure we're all going to have the same person, Congressman Green, and her antics and why she hasn't been removed from. No, how did she get elected in the first place? Why hasn't she been moved from office? What's preventing Nancy Pelosi from dropping the hammer on some of these radicals like and I hate to call him the guy with the funny hair, but his first name is Matt.
Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, Matt. I just couldn't think of what your name was. Um, when is she going to, she's Speaker of the House. I know there's, the Republican leader puts in who they want on committees, et cetera, and such, but unless, does she have any power to remove these people from committees? Does she have the votes enough to remove these people from office? So I'll let Charles go first on this one.
Well, she doesn't have the power to remove the person from the committee. At least I don't believe she has the power. That the leader of that
Party.
who assigned her to the committee is the one who should remove her from that committee. And as far as removing her from Congress, well, they need 2/3 of the vote to remove her from Congress. And I'm pretty sure they're not going to get 2/3 of the vote to expel her from Congress. Uh, you just don't want to do something and be partisan, because that's not looking good. Probably coming around to your election time, you want to have bipartisan. You want other people in her party to join you into whatever needs to be done. I think at the least she needs to be removed from the education committee. She probably don't even need to be on any committees, but she definitely needs to be moved off the education committee just because what she said. And now today she's trying to walk it back.
No, really?
But you said this, and you're probably walking it back because all the backlash that you're getting from what you initially said. So like I say, I really want her off the education committee. She doesn't need to be on the education committee, and she probably doesn't need to be on any committee. She needs to just stand alone until maybe the next election time, because she got some weird theories going on. You know, I mean, she's with that QAnon, and as far as the people who elected her, you know, wow, yeah, I guess they're idiots. So that's my take.
Yeah, Talisha, what do you think about it?
Well, I totally agree with Charles. The people that elected her are the idiots. I actually have more issues with the electorate than I do the actual people in Congress, because we, the people, are putting them there. She has zero value. She has nothing, no policy that she stands on that even the Republican brand can say, hey, this fits my ideology. So they only elected her because she has R by her name. I can imagine. No, Pelosi does not have the power, but she does have the power of that bully pulpit, which she's using. Thank God for once the Democrats are fighting. And she called it out. She called it out that how is this lady in Congress and how dare they put her on the education committee. So what it's going to take is more of that pressure. Of course, we got our fighters, our staunch fighters, your Ilhans, your Cori Bushes, your Jamal Bowmans. You've got them, but it's going to take for the Democratic leadership to get up and stand up. I will never forget the day that they censured Omar. They tried to censure Ilhan Omar because she made a reference of it's all about the Benjamins when talking about lobbyists, not even the state of Israel, but they made it a whole thing, called her anti-Semitic, tried to run her out of Congress on a rail. And guess who was right up front with the daggone pitchforks? The Dems. So I need them to take that same energy and use it for someone who really is a psychotic racist and wants to harm people and hits at let's go ahead and go kill someone, because she basically made that threat against Nancy Pelosi saying that she was treasonous and the punishment for treason is death. So that being said, Dems need to keep doing it, keep up the pressure, make those Republicans own this ugly baby, and they need to deal with their mess.
You know, I think several thoughts about this person. I think she is an embodiment of who the Republican Party is. She's them personified. That's how they think. That's how they roll. That's how they operate. They operate on these crazy. The lasers started the brush fires in California, and Trump is going to rescue us from the child pedophiles because he's some messiah. That's how they, not all of them, but that's how the majority of them operate. If they didn't, why are they so, why aren't they condemning her for saying something like this? They're just like, oh, okay, we're not going to say anything.
Right.
I don't, I do question the people that voted for her. I know that's a highly, highly Republican district. So the chances of a Democrat winning are very, very slim. But there has to be, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. I think a fight is going to break out in Congress. I don't want that to happen. But the way that she harassed Representative Bush was atrocious. That should have caused her to get censure right there. By
Exactly.
itself, that should have caused her to get censure. She's like not wearing a mask, which is against rules. She wants to bypass what do they call metal detectors
Mm-hmm.
because she wants to carry a gun. Who
Mm-hmm.
wants to carry a gun in Congress when you're not the police? You are not the police. What are you trying to carry a gun for? So you can shoot someone?
Mm.
Who is it that you're so afraid of that you have to want to wear a gun to do your job as a congressperson? I didn't understand that when she said that. So I I just I just wish, like you said, that the Democrats would do more, because it seems like to me they're always punishing their own. When it comes to Republicans, it's like, oh, let's open the door for bipartisan. No, this is not. This is not the time for bipartisanship. This is the time to get on one accord and keep going. I don't know. Go to their district and be like, hey, you guys are better than this. Elect somebody else. I don't know what it's going to take for the Democrats to get together and say, we got to get her out. Now, I know they don't have the 2/3 votes it takes to remove her from office, but they've got to do a way, way, way better job than what they're doing, because to me, it's just lackluster, terrible.
Well, I'm not sure what you expect them to do or what they can do. You know, I
I
mean,
got two things that they can do. Like Talisha said, that bully pulpit that Pelosi has is way more powerful than what she's exercising. Yes, she called it out, but it was like, okay, I'm going to move on to the next topic. No, make a whole press conference about why she needs to be pulled out. Send some people in Georgia to get on local radio stations and be like, hey, we got to get this person out because she is completely racist. That's the type of thing I'm talking about.
Maximum pressure campaign.
That's all just like I say, it's just talk, you know. Her party has to take action against her.
Oh, well, they won't. We know they won't.
Well, you know, well, then it's not much you can do. Is you just keep harping on it. You know, if they don't do anything, what can you do?
Well, Charles, I'll tell you like this. That's what the Republicans do. And as much as I can't stand what they stand for and I can't stand the things they do, their messaging game is tight. They are very repetitious. And so they get that out into the ether and then they just keep on hammering. And that's what we have to do. You're right. We're kind of hamstrung here where we don't have a lot of avenues. So what is our avenue? The bully pulpit. So you go to those reps districts, just like Tracy said, and you let them know, listen, you have put a monster in office who is talking about killing elected officials as opposed to our democratic norms of voting people in and out. You have put a monster in office that talked about kids that got murdered not really happening and it was a false flag operation. You put that on Main Street and you keep hammering that home. And then you go to Kevin McCarthy's district, the minority leader, and you tell them how he's letting people that are denying the death. And you know what? Guess what? Because even on the Republican side, one of their kids got taken away by some type of gun violence that wasn't their fault. One of their kids are probably Jewish, and they're of the Jewish faith. So being told that they made a laser from space that caused brush fire, yeah, that's going to get them activated and say, well, why aren't you getting nuts like this out of Congress? And so that maximum pressure will work, but we have to keep it going and we have to be about our messaging and not just continue to let them dictate the conversation and frame the narrative that we're just feckless and whiny and let these people live. And they're not responsible for her.
They're doing that every day. They're talking about this every day. It hasn't been a day since Green hasn't been in the news, you know, everything she's saying. So again, Congress, the Democrats can't do anything. They keep harping this thing at home. You know, you have to be on the planet stupid if you don't know what she's doing. So it's
now that's not necessarily true, because you got to remember sometimes they get that steady diet. But that's not necessarily true, because you got to remember they get that steady diet of Fox News and OAN and Newsmax. They're not talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're talking about whatever makes Democrats look bad. So if these folks aren't watching mainstream media, or they're not watching C-SPAN, or they're not watching the press briefing, they may not know that there's a psycho down in Georgia that's going to literally kill the Republican Party.
Yeah, and I think, Charles, you have to remember, look how the Republicans, and I'll just pick a random issue. Look how the Republicans, when the Parkland shooting happened, and how they advocated Second Amendment. I cannot count how many times I heard them talk about their Second Amendment rights, and Democrats wanted to take them away and do all this kind of crazy stuff. I mean, they, like Talisha said, they are very repetitive. They know how to get a message out. I wish the Democrats would learn the same. That's all I'm saying. They need to learn how to do the same thing, because right now she talks about it, but it's like, oh, it's reprehensible. And then she leaves it. No, you need to stay on that point for about 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5, and keep harping in there. And they could do like they did with President Biden sent Kamala Harris down to West Virginia to talk about the stimulus and how much.
Yes, that was amazing.
That is the type of thinking they need to do on this Jehu of a clown. Because that lady, I don't even want to call her a lady because that's too good of a title for her. She's a monster. That's what she is. She's a racist, Semitic. I'm so angry. I can't even get all my words out, but she needs to be gone. And that's how you do it. And I like the way I'm like, okay, Joe, now you used Kamala to talk about the stimulus. Now, Nancy, start using people to get on those local toes and start talking about how much of an idiot she is because, like I said, lady, it's too nice of a title for her.
Absolutely.
I wish I had something.
And you know who the two representatives that would be amazing? Cori Bush and Ossoff. If nothing else, I was so impressed with Ossoff during his run because he dragged Purdue for the filth. And guess why he got away with it? Because he was a white man, the things that Warnock couldn't do. But he dragged him for the filth, and I loved it. He talked about him being dirty with the stocks. He talked about him voting with Trump. He talked about him not voting for stimulus. So Ossoff would be the amazing messenger down in Georgia to say, hey, this lady's psycho, and let me tell you why.
And he's from Georgia. So It's not like you're getting somebody from Indiana like, hey, y'all need to. This person is representing you anyway. He's already your representative because he's already your senator. I think that's see, Democrats, we do like you. We want
yes. And guess who has like the highest approval rating down there? Ossoff and Warnock. They're like blowing everybody else out. Green has like a negative. Trump has a negative. Biden's got a plus 25 approval rating. And of course, the stimulus has like a plus 56 approval rating. So for the life of me, I can't understand why we give so much care about bipartisanship and let 10 Republicans come in the White House and tell them how they should dictate the money when Republicans couldn't give two Fs about what we thought. But neither here nor there. But Warnock and Ossoff has a high approval rating in Georgia. Georgia is really blue.
Yep, and you actually moved to the next topic because we're going to talk about, I don't know how many times we've talked about stimulus, audience, and again, I'm not going to apologize because we need stimulus. So apparently at 5 o'clock today, President Biden and Vice President Harris met with some Republicans to negotiate or to discuss the stimulus package and how much it should be. Apparently, the Republicans want $600 billion, if I'm getting that number right. And of course, Joe wants 1.9 trillion. Two questions. One, why is he going to them when he doesn't even need them to do that? I'm like, okay, explain that to me. And second, are they serious with $600 billion? Do they know that's not enough to do anything? Those are my two questions, and I'll let Charles have at it first and then Talisha.
Well, you know, they'll find out, okay? Like I've been saying before, it's gonna cost you more to do something on the back end than if you didn't do it up front. You know, exactly. We're sitting here now. What, January was the deadliest month for COVID since it started. What was it? Was it 96,000 people down?
Yeah.
How many?
92,000.
92.
Yeah. Okay. And so that number just keeps getting, what's the term, exponentially larger, you know. So February's probably going to be worse. March is probably going to even be worse. It keeps going up. And while Congress is just sitting there trying to figure out, well, how less of assistance can we get away with providing?
Right.
You know, they don't want to give what's needed. You know, they want to give what they want. I'm telling you, we need to go into a lockdown. And you know, now we done got another strain, a Brazilian strain. You know, the UK strain. You know, they don't even really know if this vaccine is working on just the normal COVID strain yet. And now, now we done got all these different strains. I'm waiting for the United States to come up with a new strain, and they're probably, because they're the worst in the whole world as far as this COVID is going. I don't think any other country tops the US. And we can't get on the same page. We can't get on the same page at the federal, the state, the county, the local. Everybody wants to do something different. You still got resistance, and it's just going to cost more. Pretty soon the whole country's going to have it. The whole world's going to have it the way they're working it. They said more people are wearing masks. I guess that's good. And I don't know, how it's going to stop though. We need to, only people should be out there on the streets are essential and first responders. Nobody else needs to be out there. Or you go out there and do your shopping and come right back, you do your social distancing. But all this stuff I want to do, that stuff needs to be kicked to the side until you get a grip on this disease. It's not getting it down, it's eradicating it that needs to be done. And until they do that, hey, next month, watch, it'll be even worse than this month. So that stimulus is it's just a joke. I mean, people are trying to catch up with all the bills that came in between the last stimulus, and now they're going to, want to throw out a few little crumbs again, and they might as well just start building more jails, because people are going to do what they need to do to survive, and if that's going outside the law, then they'll do that. So they better build more jails to house these people. That's my feeling.
Go ahead, Talisha.
Okay. So yes, they need to send out the money like immediately. No, they don't need to speak to the Republicans about this. I don't understand why they insist on this bipartisanship. It really makes us look like idiots and like we don't know what we're doing. The simple fact is, when it came time for them to pass those Trump tax cuts, they did budget reconciliation. Our man Bernie, who is still fighting, God bless his soul, he's still fighting. He said, darn this bipartisanship, we need to get checks out and we need to get vaccines out, and that can be done through budget reconciliation. We do not need the Republicans. Matter of fact, as we send those checks and those vaccines out, they should be standalone bills, and they need to actually make those Republicans look like the selfish idiots that they are, and how they were only too happy to come together like Voltron to put money in rich people's pockets. But when the people need their own money back, this is our money. They're not doing us any favors. And I need America to know this, because if I hear one more person say, stop looking for a handout, it's not a handout. This is our money. And you are sitting here playing games with our money, and now you're saying it should be means tested. So, but in the same breath, old Joe says he's not going to extra tax anybody making less than 400,000. You can't be considered non-wealthy under 400,000, as well as too much money to get stimulus, especially when you've been laid off, or your hours have been cut, or you don't have a job, or you're just falling behind because you're in a pandemic and you can't go anywhere and do anything. So the simple fact is, our government needs to get off their butt and do their jobs. The Democrats need to stop doing whatever it is they're doing and basically tell the Republicans to kick rocks and do this without them, and do it very, like This is probably the only thing I admire about Mitch McConnell. He doesn't care what you say about him. He doesn't care how it makes him look. He makes these rules and he pushes what his agenda is, and he doesn't care who cares about it. And this is what the Democrats need to do.
Yeah, and I just, as much as Joe Biden trashed the progressives, and he trashed the progressives, all of a sudden now you want to go, we are the world, and work with the Republicans. Are you serious? Are you serious? I don't, unless, there's got to be an unless to this, and I'm trying to think positive. Unless he's bringing them to the table to show how stupid they are, that's the only thing that I could come up with. And I'm like, you don't have to bring them to the table. We know they're stupid. Right. We know they don't care. You do, and I'm glad that Democratic senators are saying, hey, we don't need them to. I'm glad. That part I'm glad about, because I don't get the Biden's administration, his theory of, like I said, want to go all we are the world and start working with a party that, one, denied that you even won the election. Right. Hello. Number two, came up with the littlest amount. $600 billion is nothing. It's enough to some broke person like me, but that's not enough. That's not enough for the vaccine. That's not enough for payments. They would be talking about, I think they said, or I read, it would be like a $200 stimulus. What is $200? You might as well just keep that.
Exactly.
I could get $200 by donating plasma. I just go right down to the blood bank and be like, okay, here, and get $200 and walk back. I don't understand. You trash progressives who got you elected, but for some reason you want to reach across the aisles and work with these yahoo nut jobs of a Republican. I literally am just like, wait a minute. Now, I'm not the smartest person, okay? And y'all don't have to agree with that part. But I'm like, okay, I don't understand it. You don't need them to do this. Get it done. Because if you don't do it, you're going to be looking at a Republican Senate and a Republican Congress in 2022.
Absolutely.
Because I guarantee that the Democrats are not going to hold on to the House in 2022. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but it's just...
Well, it was already trending on Twitter this weekend. Now, mind you, Twitter's not real life, but it was trending that Biden lied. The constant refrain from them was, you give us the Senate and we will give you $2,000 immediately. Now somehow it's $1,400 because now we're combining stimuluses at this point for some strange reason. And now it's maybe April, maybe March. So folks already are telling you, we think you're lying to us. So they need to get whatever they need to get in order to figure out how to get it back up to 2,000, because people are not happy with this 1,400. And then they need to figure out how to get it out there immediately. And everybody says, well, you know, Joe's not in charge. This is really up for the Congress and the Senate. Well, we run the Congress and we run the Senate with that one vote from Vice President Harris. So that being said, Congress, do your job. Joe signed that bill, and do standalone bills. We all know that the country overwhelmingly supports the $2,000 checks, and they overwhelmingly support the vaccine. So why are you trying to wrap that up in some bill that's got stuff that you know is going to get picked apart by the other party? Use the things that you know the whole country is behind, and let the Republicans try to explain why they voted against it. And then you sit there and you pass it anyway.
But why even work with them? When the Republicans had the House and the Senate, when Orange Face was president, they gave little squats about working with the Democrats. They didn't care. They was going to do what they were going to do. Why can't you do the same thing? It's like either they don't know that 1 + 1 is 2, or they purposely want to lose.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
I don't think that they thought, oh, we're going to win the Senate.
They didn't.
I don't really think they did, because it's like they were so unprepared for this. It's like, wait a minute, we're in we got to do something now. Yeah, you got to do something now.
And let's not forget, Joe used to be the king of austerity himself when he was in the Senate. He tried over and over and over to cut Social Security and Medicare. So let's not forget, this gives them the perfect cover if, oh no, our bipartisan support is falling through because the Republicans won't help us. What they didn't anticipate is folks being educated enough to know you have enough of a majority, at least with these certain practices in the Senate, to pass budget reconciliation. You don't need the Republicans. And that's the thing that needs to be keep repeating, because certain folks don't know that the Democrats are not without options, and they will make it seem like, oh, if it wasn't for those obstructing Republicans, we would have got you this. No, it's the Democrats tying their own hands behind their own back.
And it's like they're purposely not wanting. It's like they're saying, what's a stim? People aren't suffering. I mean, look at the stock market. I mean, look at GameStop stock. It just rose, and it's like they don't give a flip. And I don't want to just like criticize just the Democrat, because as far as I'm concerned, Republican Party doesn't even exist to me. I'm like, maybe Mitt Romney, maybe on a good day, maybe sometimes. But they're just gone to me. I would have liked to have voted for them, but they make it so impossible, because it's like they take the best option for losing. And I've never understood, like I said, I don't think that they wanted to win the Senate. I think that they wanted to use the Republicans' obstruction as a vote for us and we'll do this. And now that they've won, it's like, oh crap, we're in trouble now.
The dog caught the car.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, they listened to us. So it's just one of those things. I wish somebody who was in the Democratic Party could explain that to me. Why is it that you all love to lose? Because I don't understand it. It's either you don't give a care or you just don't know any better. It's one or the other.
Well, the working theory is both Republicans and corporate Democrats have the same end goal, supporting their corporate interests and their moneyed interests. And so it's definitely on purpose. It's what would force a Joe Biden, who said even if he had a Congress and Senate both vote for Medicare for all, he'd veto it, because Big Pharma and the insurance companies has told him that no, that's not okay, and that's going to hurt their pockets. So this is why the corporate Democrats are saying, no, the likes of a Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, because that will affect their moneyed interest pockets. Now, the one great thing is Ossoff and Warnock are like, hey, we said 2000, we said get us elected, we were going to make this happen. You need to help us make that a promise a reality. So it's really good. We have, it looks like, more senators than not on the let's get them that money immediately train. As well, same with Congress. We have more of them saying yes than no. So it looks like it's going to happen. When? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't expect it to be February. So I want to move on to our next topic. And this one, it gives me great disgust to bring up this person's name, because January the 20th is when I thought, okay, I never have to talk about Trump ever again. But apparently he is the cockroach that won't go anywhere at any time. He just keeps coming back. His trial is coming up. Now, I know none of us really expect that he will get convicted. But he's got to feel proud. And I'll say this, he's got to feel proud of one thing. He's the first president to lose the popular vote twice. And he's gotten impeached twice. Who else can say that? I mean, he's got those two things working in his favor. His legal team apparently has quit. And the trial was like, the 9th?
Yes.
So that's today's the 1st. So he has 8 days to find legal counsel. So what do you, not that I think there's going to be anything that happens at this trial, but what are you looking for? Or are you just like, I don't care?
I really don't care, because I don't feel this needs to be in an impeachment. He needs to be in criminal court. Anybody else that incited a riot like that would be charged in criminal court. And they're sitting here wasting all this taxpayer money to uh, just try to get a conviction that they probably know they're not going to get, so he can't run for office. That's the only goal. That's the best that you're going to get out of this, that he wouldn't be able to run for office. He needs to be in criminal court. And I'm surprised that, they haven't charged him with anything now that he's out of office. I don't expect the impeachment to go nowhere. His lawyers quit because they weren't gonna fan that flame about election fraud. They were just gonna go with it's unconstitutional to impeach a president who's out of office. That's what they were gonna go. So, they quit. Just like in none of the courts that the lawyers would talk about fraud because they had no proof of fraud, and they still don't have any proof of fraud. So it's, if his impeachment would lead to going to prison, yeah, I'd be all for it. But I just think that what he's done should be in criminal court. It shouldn't. They're just wasting all this money. This money could be going to COVID relief. All the money they're wasting to have this trial. Even the justice, he said he ain't got time for it. The chief justice, that's who's been sitting in, being the judge or the president of the Senate during those times. Now they got Leahy, yeah. So it's just a show, just more drama. Trump won't go away. He's not gonna go away until he goes to prison. That's how I want the series to end. Him going to prison, okay? Not all this other stuff that he's going to get away with. So.
Well, I totally agree with Charles. It does seem like a waste of time. I think we might get 5 senators on the other side when we need 17. So the conviction is not going to happen. Now, even Mitch McConnell is dialing back his support because he found out when he set that trial balloon up that he may be happy about Trump getting impeached, that their base really took a hit, or their base really hit the Republican Party hard. And now that this fool is talking about Trump, the fool, not Mitch, the fool this time, is talking about forming his own party, the MAGA Patriot Party. They know that's going to splinter the Republicans, and they will never, in all actuality, win another election if they're splintered between two parties. So at this point, we may have 5, more like 3 Republicans. So it's a waste of time. I personally, you guys know, I don't think he'll ever be convicted of any crime. If he is, it'll definitely just be fines and if home monitoring, but there's no past prologue of a president being prosecuted for crimes. So that being said, he's gonna get away with everything he's done. At this point, he's gone, stay gone. I hope he never runs for office ever again. That would be, like Charles said, the only good outcome of a conviction in the Senate. That just shy of stripping him of presidential honors. So that's like the last 4 years never happened. That would be amazing. So at this point, just let this man go away, because the more we talk about him, the more he feels relevant and the more he keeps coming back. And I'm sick of the Trumps, all of them.
Yeah, all of them. I agree, disagree, agree, and I'll explain what I mean. I definitely, after some thought, I'm like, yeah, he's probably going to get away with it in terms of the trial that's coming up, because we have a bunch of weak senators that are in office. That's basically what it comes down to. They know good and well that he incited that riot.
Absolutely.
They all heard him, like we all heard him tell those people to take to the streets. Now,
Yes.
would they have taken to the streets? I don't know, but he certainly encouraged them to do so. So they know that. I agree with you, Talisha, that it's really their hesitance to vote against a conviction doesn't have anything to do with their loyalty to Trump. They don't want to see that base
Right.
go away. They need that base to get elected. If they don't have that base, they're out of office.
Exactly.
And so that's what it comes down to. I do think that Congress should have impeached him, though, because you couldn't let what he did just, okay, we're just going to ignore it. No, you have to have did something in terms of making him somewhat responsible for what he did. There's no way that Nancy Pelosi, as the speaker, could have said, I know we should just move on.
Right.
Ted Cruz is trying to indicate we should be doing. But she had to do it. I think it was necessary to do. My only hope is that the courts in New York, that's where my hope lies, is maybe they will have their attorney general seems to be wanting a conviction. And maybe that's where my hope lies. But he's running again. Oh, period, point blank. There's no doubt about it. He's running again. He's going to get the nomination again. He'll probably be, I don't want to say.
Let's see, feature animals. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I was like, huh? But I think he's definitely going to run again. He's definitely running again. He's gonna pull that Grover Cleveland type of thing and run twice, lose, then get reelected again. So my hope again, it lies in the New York courts, and it lies in what they can do to, like I said, I don't think that you're ever gonna have a president be sent to prison. That would just be too much of a that'd be great for him because that's where he deserves to be. But the legalities of it, maybe a home monitor, prison would be better. But I'm like, even if they convicted him, it'll be a fine, which of course he can't pay because he's flat broke. But you know that's a whole thing. So the last topic that I wanted to talk about is the state of Congress. I've been reading several articles about Republican infighting, Republicans fighting with Democrats, Democrats fighting with Democrats. What is wrong with Congress? What is like they have either no clue as to what we sent them there for, or they've just stooped to a level of pettiness that's just unbelievable. The whole thing with Marjorie Taylor harassing Cori Bush to where she felt she had to move her office. I'm like, does she not know where Cori Bush is from? Like, she didn't know. And I could tell when Representative Bush did her interview, she showed great restraints that I don't know if I would have shown. I wouldn't be surprised that if I turned on TV, they wouldn't go like some of those countries overseas where they're literally fist fighting and the police had to be called in. That's just me.
Well, I doubt it's going to get that bad. I do believe there will be the television wars where they run to the nearest, ideologically adjacent news station and say their piece and try to get the public opinion to sway in their direction. But no, I doubt it will, devolve into like just straight up war. They don't do that. They seem to love to come together when it's time to actually pass bills to perpetuate war elsewhere. So they have their points where they come together. I think the Republican Party, like we've been saying, is on the verge of breaking up. And if the Democrats were about their business, we'd be pushing that and fanning those flames, because there are certain things. You got your Matt Gaetzes that use that Trump ideology and they push it like it's they were born this way. And then you've got, your Kevin McCarthy's who basically don't really have an ideology other than let me get money in the pocket of my donors and turn into my pockets, who abhors them saying the quiet parts out loud. And so if we play this right, we can splinter them and get rid of them. And then the Democrats, and more importantly, the progressives, have a better chance of getting in office and actually making this country what it could be and making it for the people and for the little guy. So I personally am for it. I'm here for it. I hope the Republicans, basically tear each other down until there's nothing left. And then they actually start listening to our message, because our message is not one of handouts and this, that, and other. It's basically equaling and leveling the playing field. A lot of these people were born on third base, and look at us who were born, way past home, the start part, of the base. I don't know sports metaphors, but basically we're way behind. And then they look at us like, why haven't you did something with your life? Well, that's because the chips have been stacked against us. And if we can get that into poor white folks' head, that listen, it's not the Mexicans taking your job. It's not Black people getting affirmative action. It is literally these corporations and these Congress people and these presidents for, making sure that the rich stay rich and the poor stay broken. If we can get that into their heads, and we can all unite and become a force where there is an equitable playing field for us all. So I'm here for it. Fight it out.
Well, I feel that the the elected officials have gotten away from being statesmen and being leaders. And all they seem to be concerned about is the next election. You know, what do I need to do to get elected again from my base? Screw the country. So, and it's just now it's getting worse. It's that division that Trump really, well, the division was there already, but it's really divided now to where, now you see violence, see symptoms that you wonder, is the Constitution going to be held together? Because, you start attacking Congress, attacking the Capitol. Well, the system has to rectify that. If they don't, then, you won't have any system anymore. I mean, these states can just start breaking off. This piece of paper is just not going to, it doesn't have the unity that it used to have. And it's just getting worse. Because we are in a constitutional crisis. And I don't know how to fix it. Everybody, everybody's saying, well, I'm right and you're wrong. Maybe somebody else to say, well, maybe we're wrong and you're right. And they don't seem to want to do that. And yeah, it's infighting going on in the Republicans, it's infighting going on in the Democrats. I think it's the new generation has different ideas than the old generations. And it might be time for the old generation just to move on. But they don't want to let go until they're dead. But
real quick, Charles, since you mentioned that, Dianne Feinstein just re-registered for the next re-election, and she's turning 91. Come on.
91?
91.
Sometimes you need to let go of something. You become an untimely person. I really don't think that's a good idea. And I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if she got elected again.
Right.
I don't know who took her spot. Was it a Democrat? Was it a Republican?
Mm.
Or what? I hadn't paid attention to that, but I, at some point you just gotta let go.
Sure.
Your ideas have gotten outdated. I mean, everybody up there has to take responsibility for the way this economy is now, the way that things are running now, the way this disease has pretty much compromised uh, the U.S. system. And it wasn't just all Trump. I mean, it was the people who let Trump do this.
Right.
And like I said, they're continuing to let Trump do this. Not all of them, but enough of them to make a difference. And then when you didn't send all these people to you were the law and order party. And now you didn't watch your leaders send all these people up to the Capitol that killed, about what, five to six people, murdered a policeman, beaten policemen, and you were okay with that, and so it just shows that person is a hypocrite, or
Right.
those people are hypocrites. They
Yeah.
didn't mind the up in where it was Portland when these no tag brown shirt Gestapos were just snatching people off the street or snatching protesters off the street. Nobody even knew who they were. But then that was okay. But now, now that people are rising up against the government, and I still don't know what did you really believe that was going to be changed, that you were going to stop this transfer of power,
Well, Charles, they think that I didn't mean to cut you off, but they think that Trump has moved to Florida to establish the real government. I mean, that's the latest one that's coming out on them. So there's some people, and I really hate to say what I'm saying, but some people, there's not too much hope for them. They're going to be who they're going to be. They're going to be racist. They're going to be obstructionists. They're going to be everything that they are. But I want to move on. Before I move on to our favorite segment of the show, it is Black History Month. And that's another thing that I forgot. So happy Black History Month to everybody, because Black History just is not in February. It's 365 days a year. So always remember that. So we're moving on to my favorite part of the week, but I think all three of us are going to agree on this one. We're going to pick our idiot of the week. And Talisha, I'll start with you.
Well, I might surprise you guys. My idiot of the week happens to be the cops that decided they were going to spray a little 9-year-old girl in the face with pepper spray. Not only did they handcuff this baby, but they threw her in the back of a police car and sprayed her in her face with pepper spray at close range. They are now on suspension. God only knows how many officers, but I counted 2 in particular, 2 Caucasian officers, a woman and a man. And the man, the female officer kept just threatening to spray her in the face. And the man says, just spray her in the face. So they were just so cavalier with this baby. I'm sick of these animals, and I'm tired of people clutching their invisible pearls when we say defund the police This is why we say defund the police, because if this is what you call crime fighting, I want no parts of it. So they are my idiots of the week. I hope they're fired. I hope they're arrested. I hope they are thrown in jail for child abuse and assault. And I personally will be watching this case and reporting back on it until justice is served for this baby.
Now, was she black?
She was
Yes,
Black, of
it's
course,
not
she was
black.
Black, and she was a 9-year-old baby. This hits very close to home for me. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and if anyone, and I mean anyone, did this to my child, you would have to put me up under the jail, because I'm coming for you. Not violent, I'm not a killer, but don't push me.
What, I saw it, was it in a car?
They were putting her in the back of the squad car. This is in Rochester, New York. Apparently, they were called out because there was some type of disturbance at the home. It's not clear at this time whether she was in some type of medical trauma or something. I know she kept asking for her dad, and the female officer, very just nasty with the little girl, was like, "I'm gonna get your dad. Just sit down, and I'm gonna spray you in your eyeballs." It was just so disgusting how they talk to this baby, and my heart breaks for her, and I hope she's okay.
Did they hold a press conference yet?
Some person
Oh,
who
the
was the
police.
head of the police union did a press conference basically justifying why they sprayed this baby in the
Oh, so they
face.
tried to justify it. Okay.
Oh my God, which there's zero justification. And they tried to justify it, basically stating that that basically be happy that was all that happened to her. And I don't know, man. When I tell you I read this, I was spitting knives. So hopefully they're locked up, because it's disgusting what they did to this baby.
Yep.
Well, they're suspended. I don't know. Are they suspended with pay or suspended?
Doesn't specify. 9 times out of 10, normally they're suspended with pay. They usually specify if they're suspended without pay, but they are immediately suspended, more than the two. So I guess any of the surrounding cops. Also, let's not forget they got dispatched to a Black home. So there was an overwhelming number of cops. It had to be like 10 to 15 cops. So it
For a
was
9-year-old
very
girl.
disgusting.
For a
So
nine,
what now?
for a
All
nine,
I can say is somebody's about to get paid. That's about all I can say. Somebody is about to get paid some big money, okay? They don't have to worry about no pandemic assistance anymore.
That's true. That's true.
yeah, that's unfortunate that you have to sue the police to get justice. That's
Exactly.
ridiculous. But
This is the
Charles,
same police department that killed that young Black man it's actually, I think, like a year ago, but the footage came out about 6 months ago, and they had him naked in the street and put a hood over his head, and he ended up dying.
Yeah.
So they're problematic, to say the least.
yeah. Charles, what about you?
I'm going with McCarthy. That
Okay.
you know this woman's history and how she feels about the schools, and you would still go and assign her to a committee uh, for education. I just think, God, you got to be a real idiot.
Well, boy, I thought we were all going to have the same idiot of the week. Mine is so-called Congressman Monster, um, Miss Taylor Greene, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She she is lucky that Cori Bush has class, decorum, sense, because I don't have that. Because if she had did to me what she did to Representative Bush, all I would, because I can't fight, all it would have took was a phone call. One phone call to one crazy family member. Okay, that's it. She has literally no business being in holding, and I normally don't say that, she has no business holding any job. I don't
Exactly.
want her to be a person serving me at McDonald's. I don't want her taking care of kids in daycare. I don't want her cleaning somebody's house. I don't want her doing anything except for be in prison. Because the way that when I saw that footage of her following Mr. Hogg after the Parkland shooting, and that was a child, you did that to a child, not somebody that was grown and an adult and that could take that. You followed a child around. and question a child about a situation that you never, I was done. I'm like, oh no, that something's wrong with y'all in Georgia to put this one in office. I don't know what it is with y'all. I don't know if y'all like KKK rallies and y'all just sitting around with your little crosses and they burn it. I don't know what's wrong with y'all, but that, no. I don't know what the Democrats in that area need to do, but they need to start doing it now. They got 2 years to get her out. Start working now because she got to go. Oh my goodness, she is terrible. But I didn't want to go on a rant, but I tried to keep it in. I'm gonna try to keep it professional on some level. But I do thank you guys for coming in. Talisha stayed with me about 2 or 3 minutes after. Charles, Talisha, guys, thank you. And we'll come back next week. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe and support me on Patreon. I appreciate you guys as panelists and I appreciate my audience. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.